We're still in a terrible biodiversity crisis. It's not enough. Nattergal is the umbrella company for what we're trying to do. Nattergal sits at the top. It's the kind of overarching company that is going to be out there raising investment, raising the profile, trying to innovate around these natural capital markets. But Nattergal will own lots of individual sites. So, for example, Boothby Wildland, it's a company in and of itself, and it will have a very, very local set of objectives, a local steering group, a local community engagement plan, and a local identity. So it'll feel very different to our next site, High Fen Wildland, down the road in Norfolk.
High Fen is quite different to Boothby. It is much more interesting from a hydrology perspective and because it's very depleted peatland. And so our opportunity there is to re-wet the peatland, reduce the carbon being released, and create an amazing wetland reserve for nature.
Rewilding is about having natural processes restored to the land. So we will be taking, for example, Boothby, a site with a very low ecological baseline where natural processes do not function at all anymore, completely managed by humans, the river, the fields, the soils, and we will be restoring those natural processes. So a functioning hydrology, real biologically healthy soils. We will be setting up and enabling wild herbivores or free-roaming herbivores to get out there and shape the land. So all of those processes together will give us this incredible wealth of biodiversity. We'll see different habitats from grasslands to woodlands, wet woodlands, floodplains, all of them combined and all of them continually changing, resilient to climate change, resilient to the pressures that we human beings put on these landscapes. So what we're going to do is put a price on those ecosystem services and sell them to buyers, to corporate people with specific targets around net zero or biodiversity impact, to anyone who might need that, the Environment Agency around natural flood management. There are lots of different buyers for these ecosystem services, and we want to sell them.
One of the really important things for us to consider is what we won't do with the site. So, for example, we may want to introduce renewable energy to make sure that the site is as sustainable as we can make it. But that does not mean that we're going to take a large swathe of the site and create a solar farm, for example. But we also think about what was the site doing? Does it make sense to change the land use? For example, ensuring that it is depleted arable land, if that's the site we're looking at.
It's really important at Nattergal that we employ a local team that understands the local communities and works with them, and we take time to understand how the community interact with the land. So that might be through site access is a really common one, for example. There's a lot of people using public footpaths, horse riding, bridleways. So we've mapped all those, and then we're asking the community where would they, for example, like 2 footpaths joined, so that they can do a loop that only takes half an hour instead of massive hour, or walking up 1 footpath and walking back. So we're working with the local communities through workshops, through newsletters, through talking to them at sort of village hall events, anything that we can do to increase that conversation.
Another really exciting opportunity with our sites is ecotourism. We're creating these wonderful places and we want to share them. And so from an ecotourism perspective, we can generate revenue both by providing guided tours that help educate and bring people closer to nature, and also by providing temporary accommodation for people to come and visit and stay overnight. This is about creating permanent nature restoration sites. And therefore we will encumber the land and we will look at different legal measures to make sure that this is multi-generational, that we really are tying up. We're not just restoring biodiversity, but we're giving it a permanence that will long outlive us and those that follow us.